Now, more insight into the relationship between Asia and Europe. We are joined by Mr. Liu Mingli. He is the Deputy Director of the Institute of European Studies at the China Institute of Contemporary International Relations. Welcome, Mr. Liu. They were talking about cooperation and connectivity. They will be the main themes of this year's forum. Of course, as our reporter Jack mentioned, China has its own Belt and Road Initiative, and Europe has its own connectivity programs. Do you think the two can align with one another?
Yes, I think we noticed that just 1 month ago, the European Commission launched a communication paper on connecting Europe and Asia. This caused concerns that communication paper may be a substitute to the Belt and Road Initiative. But after closely reading of this paper, I found that EU and China have a lot in common, because according to the EU's paper, it stresses the importance of connectivity between Europe and Asia. We know that the economies between the Europe and Asia, like the CEE countries, Central and Eastern European countries, and Central Asia countries. That's a region which, to some extent, was neglected by the global economy. Traditionally, the global economy, the centers are Europe, Asia, and America, but this region was neglected. But with this paper, I think European Union has found the importance of the growth of the countries in CEE country and Central Asia. Then I think connectivity is to build connections along the Belt and Road Initiative, these countries. That's what the Belt and Road Initiative is calling for.
But there are some critics in Europe saying this is China's plan to divide Europe between the East and the West.
I don't think so, because with the Belt and Road Initiative, we have more cooperation mechanism. For example, the 16+1, which cost a lot of attention from European Union. But I think it's just something which bring the central CE countries together. Without this country, the CE countries are working separately, but with this new cooperation, is the Central and Eastern European countries can work together. I think it's good news for the European solidarity. It promotes the cooperation within this region.
Talking about bilateral relations, Chinese Premier and the Belgian Prime Minister, they have vowed to further their cooperation, although Belgium is not a big economy in Europe. But what do you think the future holds for both sides?
I see a promising future of bilateral relations. We know this is the third visit of Premier Li Keqiang in 4 years' time. I think this is quite a frequent visit between the leaders of the two countries. With frequent meetings, I think it promotes the mutual understandings, mutual trust. Then we can have more cooperation with each other. Actually, the bilateral trade between China and Belgium has increased by over 10% last year. Particularly, Belgian exports to China increased by a quarter last year. And many Chinese enterprises are thinking about investing in Belgium. We know 2 years ago, the China-Belgium Technology Center was established in Belgium, so it attracted the attention of the Chinese enterprises. Of course, Belgium is also a competitive economy. Belgium enterprises will have opportunity to invest in China with China's new round of opening up in January. So I see a promising future of the bilateral relations.
Indeed, it is a big market for Belgium. Thank you very much, Mr. Liu.